6:57.
Oh, sorry, I told him. I thought it was, oh. Maybe I should get my phone out. I always figure I shouldn't be distracted. Tell me when it's 7. I keep looking at that clock. It used to work. Good evening. I think it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the Braintree Zoning Board of Appeals to order. I would like to make note of who's here tonight. We have the Director of Planning and Community Development, Peter Matchek, and we have the Zoning Planner, Jonathan Dickinson. The board members present are Raina Rubin, myself, Jose Perez as Vice Chair, Angela Kavanaugh as Clerk, and Tom Kleber as our alternate. We will be following the agenda tonight, and we will also continue with a 2-minute testimony from the public this evening. But our first order of business is petition number 25-23, 250 Granite Street, Dick's Sporting Goods. We're going to open the public hearing for that. I will note that all zoning board members present are sitting on this matter.
I'll read this out.
The clerk will read the announcement.
Petition 2523, 250 Granite Street. Dick's Sporting Goods Incorporated applicant has applied to the Braintree Zoning Board of Appeals for relief from the Braintree zoning ordinance pursuant to chapters 135, section 407, 135, section 701, 135, section 701, notes 3, 135, section 709, and 135, section 904.2, A, 5A, B, E, and G in connection with the redevelopment of existing commercial space. The applicant seeks variances for a building facade height not to exceed 78 feet, wall signs exceeding 4 foot in height, wall signs exceeding 1 square foot of signage per linear foot of frontage, wall signs exceeding 150 square feet in area, and a total aggregate wall sign area exceeding 150 square feet.
I invite the applicant to come up, introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, Chair Rubin, members of the Braintree Zoning Board of Appeals. For the record, my name is Frank Marinelli. I'm a lifelong Braintree resident, and my law office is at 439 Washington Street, Braintree. I'm pleased to appear this evening on behalf of Dick's Sporting Goods, and with me is Dick's Vice President for Development, Brian Basic. Also here is Matt Lally from Gensler Design, and Hillary Holmes from Langen Engineering. Hillary and Matt are our design team, and they prepared all of the plans that you have that were submitted in September. As you know, the Nordstrom anchor store at South Shore Plaza closed this year, and that's 150,000 square feet of vacant space at South Shore Plaza. Vacant space of that magnitude is never good for Braintree or for South Shore Plaza, Braintree's #1 taxpayer and commerce center. Anchor stores are critical to the economics of large retail centers, and at a time when there's been closing of large brick-and-mortar retail stores due to diminished brand or online purchasing, Dick's, an omni-channel retailer, has taken over large brick-and-mortar spaces and has revitalized the broader retail landscape nationwide. And that success is detailed in Exhibit 1 of the application that we submitted in September. Just by way of background, Dick's started in 1948 as 2 bait and tackle stores in Binghamton, New York. Today, Dick's is publicly held. It is the nation's largest sports retailer with over 100,000 employees, over 800 Dick's stores nationwide. And the newest, approximately 35 stores by the end of this year, the newest concept of customer experience is Dick's House of Sport. And Braintree will be a Dick's House of Sport. Dick's also owns over 100 Golf Galaxy stores, and in 2022, Dick's founded DSG Ventures to support community improvement through sports. When Nordstrom vacated Simon retail centers in Braintree and in Peabody, Dick's came in and took both large retail spaces. When Lord & Taylor vacated in Boston at the Prudential Center, Dick's came in and took that space and opened the first Boston area House of Sport. So Braintree will be the second House of Sport, a very unique concept, very embraced by the consumer base, and it's an extraordinary concept. In Boston, it's on 2 floors. If you haven't been there, Braintree will have 3 floors, 150,000 square feet, with a central daylighting feature, which is called a clerestory. And the clerestory provides daylight through the center of the building on all 3 floors, and it enhances the customer experience. There's also a glass elevator within the space of the clerestory. So it's approximately a $30 million investment and renovation of what is really just a dreary, monolithic, existing former Nordstrom building. So it's just very exciting to have Dick's come in and make this investment and open Dick's House of Sports Braintree. Other than Dick's, look at the market, look at the Wall Street Journal, look at the publications. There's no single-use retail for the vacant 150,000 square feet former Nordstrom space. If there was another single-use large retail, it probably already would have occupied the Lord & Taylor space, well over 100,000 square feet, which has been vacant for a protracted period of time. So to have Dick's take the former Nordstrom 150,000 square feet as a single-use retailer and spend tens of millions of dollars installing the daylight clerestory through 3 stories of currently dark interior, brick veneer on the outside, green metallic green metal panels, as well as the brick veneer, clear glass. It's an extraordinary opportunity for Braintree and for the South Shore Plaza. We all know that Braintree is a great sports town, and as Brian would tell you, Braintree will get a great Dick's House of Sport. Dick's House of Sport Braintree will be an immersive, large-format retail experience that offers more than just merchandise. The House of Sport on 3 floors will be a superstore, and that concept provides hands-on activities like rock climbing, batting cage, elevated customer service, interactive technology, and customized gear and equipment. On October 14th, the Braintree Planning Board voted 5-0 to approve Dick's House of Sport, occupying the former Nordstrom space as a minor modification of Planning Board Decision 08-03. And that decision was the one that had approved the original construction of the Nordstrom Target complex back in 2009. It was constructed. Tonight is the final zoning and planning approval that is needed for Dick's to proceed to building permits and be able to meet its targeted opening date for Braintree. In 2008, the zoning board did grant height and signage variances to enable construction of the current Nordstrom building, and Dick needs the same categories of height and signage variances tonight, but to transform the existing three-story, really just uninspiring cement building into the vibrant Dick's House of Sport venue and the customer experience with great architectural interest and the type of renovations that they want to perform in accordance with their iconic brand. The relief before you is not unusual for South Shore Plaza because Article 9 of the zoning ordinances has not been updated for decades. Article 9 allows just 150 square feet of principal wall signage, no matter whether you have a 15,000 square foot building or a 150,000 square foot building in the Highway Business District, which is supposed to be friendly and embrace business, as the South Shore Plaza is the #1 center of commerce. So Article 9 and the need for variances is not unusual. One size does not fit all. As Mr. Dickinson points out at the bottom of page 2 of his staff report, there have been 42 petitions before the zoning board for the South Shore Plaza over the years. And that's because it is a unique over 100-acre venue with over 1.6 million square feet of building mass, and there's nothing even remotely close to those metrics in our town. So it is unique. Larger space has larger needs, proportionate with these larger facades. The signage that we're seeking is very reasonable and consistent with the iconic brand and customer awareness. And so until another process or overlay creates flexibility by special permit or site plan review, we have to apply for variances for a single retail use for 150,000 square feet in order to accommodate the necessary tenant brand and customer awareness in a location that is at the rear of the South Shore Plaza. As shown on Exhibit A1, which we filed, the 3 wall signs for 3 large facades are proportionately reasonable. They cover just 2.5 to 2.8% of the new facades. And you can see all of them itemized on Exhibit A1. So we respectfully submit that those proportions, those signs are reasonable for the motorists navigating curved South Shore Plaza internal drives and parking lots, providing awareness of safe travel and turning movements, all consistent with the purpose of Article 9. The back of the mall is not intuitively a directional situation where it's 2,000 linear feet from the 3 entrances on Granite Street. So you would not know that this building is there, and we'll show you that because that's one of the hardships attributable on the zoning. The height variance is needed for the 73.8-foot clerestory, the bump-up skylight structure, and the very limited 2 parapets at 78 feet. There's just 2. They screen the top of the clerestory structure, and one of those parapets, that is the 78 feet, very limited, is at the main entrance to this grand facility, to this grand house of sports, to this transformative development. So we think that's very appropriate. It's certainly something that the brand wants to hold on to and have that metric. And the metric is really consistent with the size of this building. As you've been out there, if you've been out there, as I have many times, to look at the facades, look at the building, these are reasonable proposals, and I think you see that in Exhibit B, where the proposal really melds well and assimilates well with the neighboring building. I will point out that Dick's parapets, other than the two points that provide screening for the parapet, most of the parapets are like 62, 66, 68. They're below the 70 feet. In fact, if you look at the exhibits, and we'll go through them briefly, but the north elevation takes away all of the parapets that Nordstrom had. So we're actually below the parapets on the north side, which is parallel to Common Street. Common Street's over 700 feet back on that north side. So that relief is pretty limited, and we really need it. We need it for the architectural design, the colors, and the materials, which Dick's wants to construct at significant expense as an attractive improvement over the large monolithic cement box that currently exists. I want to review just a few slides. The first slide up here that's the southerly facing facade as it currently exists, and you can see more of this horizontal rather than the columnar type improvements that we want to make with brick veneer and the architecture that is typical and part of the Dick's brand. So that's the southerly facing current facade. That's the easterly facing current facade. Each of these facades has, vast parking lot in front of it, hundreds of feet out from these facades. On this particular facade, you then get to an evergreen berm, you then get to the ball field beyond, you then get to Blake Road, but that's about 1,100 feet away. So that's just to show the existing conditions. This is a very good exhibit in terms of showing you, and I know the chair asked for this, and Matt Lally of Gensler prepared it in response. But if you look at the bottom slide, the north elevation, you see those white spaces in the red line block. The red line block is your existing Nordstrom building. And you can see in those white spaces, we're taking down their parapet. So it's not exactly one-for-one replacement. We do have a mild more amount of parapet because we're screening the clerestory on the south elevation. You can see we go a little higher, but there's nothing really abnormal for the design that we want to achieve. And this is the finished product, which fits in nicely with the surrounding commercial. And again, that's all brick veneer, green metal panel, clear glass, which, Matt, our architect from Gensler, could address if you have any questions. So to the point of the proportionality of the signs, you can see on the first one, the north elevation, the signage is only 2.83% of that total facade. You have facades that are 14 and 15,000 square feet. So that, again, we would respectfully submit that that's a reasonable request. On the east elevation, again, looking out to hundreds of feet of vast parking lot, we've got 2.53% of the facade. Again, a very reasonable metric in terms of the signage that's proportionally appropriate for these huge existing facades and ones that we're improving dramatically. And then on the south elevation, and this south elevation, again, has vast parking lot in front of it, hundreds of feet, and then it goes out to the South Shore Plaza Drive. And then on the other side of that will be the Zom apartments, the 325 apartment homes on this southerly side. And so all in all, this is a $200 million investment in this southeastern quadrant of the plaza, which is very welcome, where you've got the 150 million, the 30 million plus here, close to 200 million in that area, and certainly our commercial tax base and can use that. This shows the clerestory and how the clerestory relates to the various elevations. This is the north elevation. Again, it's over 700 feet from Common Street, and there's that little bump up for the clerestory on the roof, and then it is screened on the easterly side. You can see the bracket there where the clerestory outline is, and then on the southerly side, again, that is screened with the parapet that we have. There are unique hardships associated with the over 100-acre South Shore Plaza property in relation to Dick's rear of mall location and warranting grant of the requested variances owing to the following existing hardships. As you can see, the shape of the South Shore Plaza lot is very, I'm sorry, let me go back to that one, is irregular. You can see the irregular shape of the lot. There are 3 entrances off of Granite Street, and the back building, the Nordstrom building, what will be the Dick's building, is at the far right of the screen, far right, my far right of the screen, to the back of the mall. So that is an irregular lot, hardship owing to the circumstances of the irregular shape of the lot and the rear location on the property of the 150,000 square foot building. In addition, you have no visibility to this building from Granite Street. From any of the 3 Granite Street entries and exits, you have no visibility at all. And that's shown here. This is the first one. This is the southerly drive in, and you're blocked by office inventory, and then the Dick's building is way to the back. You have to go around the corner of the huge cement garage structure. So no identification, no visibility. Again, this is the entrance, the second entrance by the gas station. It has deeply sloping topography downward. So we've got shape of the lot, hardship, we've got topographical hardship. Again, you cannot see the Dick's building. There are portions of Granite Street that are 30 to 40 feet higher than the elevation of the basin where the former Nordstrom Dick's building is located. The elevations go like 120 down to 76. This is the next entry, which is the northerly entry off of Granite Street. And again, now we have hardship owing to the shape of the building mass and the structures, which under 40A Section 10 and 406 of our bylaws warrants the grant of relief. We have hardship owing to the shape of the lot, hardship owing to deeply descending grade drop, and hardship owing to building mass, which blocks any visibility or identification to the rear of the mall where the Dick's building is going to be. 1.6 million square feet of building mass. Again, that's the same entry directly across from Hyatt Place at the traffic light. Coming in there, you don't have any view or identification of Dick's. The Common Street entrance, you have to drive almost to the stop sign before you see the current Nordstrom building. And you know, that's going to be the same characteristic that will apply to Dick's, that there's no view, there's no identification from Common Street until you get on the internal drive to that stop sign. So finally, these are the illustrations, again, of each elevation where we put the shadow of the Nordstrom building as requested against the proposed Dick's building. The north elevation, again, you can see significant removal of the parapet that Nordstrom had. The parapet that Nordstrom had went over 66 feet. So our elevation, we have a roof height of 58 feet 6 inches is the roof high point. I'm sorry, 58 feet 6 inches, I said, yeah. The current roof height is 1 inch. So it's about 1 foot 5 inches on the roof height differential, which is really de minimis. But here we're removing all of that parapet that was part of Nordstrom. And yes, we do have, mild addition of parapet, as you can see here, but it covers, it screens the clerestory, and moreover, it is consistent with the vertical columnar look that is the Dick's iconic brand with brick veneer. It's completely different style than what you had out there, which was monolithic, almost horizontal cement, versus columnar, extremely improved aesthetics with this proposal. And that is the south elevation, and that is all of the illustrations in terms of shadow, Nordstrom versus what is proposed. So in conclusion, we would respectfully submit that the requests are reasonable, that they are justified by the shape of the lot hardship, the building mass shape and structures, the dramatically sloping downward topography. Moreover, people tend to talk about hardships in variance hearings, but there's also another standard, and it is, can the relief be granted without substantial detriment or derogation to the public good? And certainly, filling 150,000 square feet of vacant retail space where there are no other users, and we have the opportunity for a quality, high quality, successful brand nationally to occupy this space is not substantially detrimental. It's not derogation. It is a huge benefit to the town. Vacant space is not a huge benefit. So we feel that we meet all of the requirements of 4810 and also Section 406 of the zoning ordinance, and we respectfully request that you approve the requested relief. Thank you very much. We're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Would Member Perez, do you have any questions or comments you'd like to ask the proponent?
When it comes to the signage, since it's not going to be noticeable from a lot of angles, why the increase in size?
So the increase in size is something that's proportionate to the building. The facades are almost 15,000 square feet each, and this is less than 3% of that amount. And we really need some kind of flexibility in terms of what is approved in at a commercial venue. I mean, this is the town's #1 commercial center. As the staff report points out, there's been 42 petitions. There's been sign variances, and this is their brand. There obviously are more words in Dick's House of Sport than Nordstrom. The Nordstrom sign was 35 feet across. This is roughly 29, so it's more compact in that regard. But there isn't, Brian is the director of development, and there really isn't the ability to occupy this space and then give up the iconic brand. I mean, it's important. Yeah. Even when you're driving past these edifices that are part of this building, I mean, you can be below it, and you need to know where you are. I mean, it's a destination. Hopefully, people will figure it out, but it's not intuitive. It really needs this kind of reasonable exposure.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Member Kavanaugh?
Can you tell me more about the clear story and how much the glass elevator is going to provide light for the rest of the inside space? Just describe what that elevator is all about.
Sure, and Brian or Matt can really probably describe it in more detail, but as I understand it, the clerestory is the rooftop major skylight. It comes down through the central core of all 3 floors. So the whole building is going to be daylighted. And then the glass elevator is in the middle of that clerestory space.
Good evening. Brian Basic, Vice President of Development, Dick's Sporting Goods. Thanks for having us tonight. Yeah, what Frank said is correct. The clear story is actually one of the fundamental elements of the House of Sport product. We don't put them in our single level or even 2-level larger format of the legacy stores. So it's unique to the House of Sport, and we feel it's an important part of the design, but that is exactly what it's meant to do. We have 2 components in the House of Sport that have natural light, and we feel that it's really important to the experience of the shopper. But we will take large sections of floor out through the middle of the Nordstrom space. So we'll be removing structure all the way down from the bottom up to the top of the clear story. We'll probably rip off most of the roof and build it back basically where it is. But the opening in the floors will line up generally with the clear story, so it does provide a much nicer feeling when you're inside the store. I mean, you can go into any one of them that are still open at the shopping center today, and even the Nordstrom, and it is at times sort of an enclosed feeling. Most department stores don't use glazing and glass because they're lining their walls with merchandise. We found a way to design around that, and we actually have quite a bit of natural light coming through the front of the store. We have our climbing wall, which is sort of encased in glass on the corner, and then this clear story piece. So put all together, we really feel like it's an important and really luxurious experience for our shopper.
And can you tell me how far off, like the roof edge, that clear story is? Is it just right in the middle of the roof, or is it?
It's generally in the middle, but
Is
I'm
it
going to have to ask my technical
set
guy to
back
give
now?
you a dimension, because I'm not sure. Do you have from the roof line back to the beginning of the clear story?
I don't need the exact amount, but I'm only asking because you say that the parapet is there to screen the clear story, but I'm not sure if you get back far enough that you would actually see the clear story if it was set back from the roof. Because usually if you're right next to the building and you look up, you're not necessarily going to see that. So that's why I'm asking, because I know that's one reason that you have the front parapet so high.
I think that it depends, obviously, where you are. It's exactly what you just said. If you're right up on the building and you look up, you're not going to see the clear story. As you move back, you'll have more of an opportunity to see what's on the roof. So the parapets that we do have a number of purposes. One of them does provide some screening from those elements, including rooftop units. There's mechanical equipment littered all over the roof as well, because this is quite a significant space, and it requires, quite frankly, dozens of rooftop units. As far as the size of the sign structure, we do have a visibility problem. Part of that is not solvable because of where the mall sits. But once you get on property, we want to have as much presence as possible so that people find us and people can get into the store easily. It's also part of the brand. I think any retailer will tell you that you fiercely protect your brand. And I think what we've done here is thread the needle of keeping the brand, the iconic brand, sort of recognizable, but also adding a lot of new elements to the House of Sport that you wouldn't find in an existing store. So this is the latest and greatest. There is not one that looks like this. We took advantage of the larger, basically, palette that we have with this huge monolithic facade and turned it into something that we're very proud of while maintaining that iconic brand. And the large sign is part of that. If you look at other Dick's stores throughout the country, in many cases, that sign structure is up 15 feet above the roof line. I mean, it's pretty much what we do. So this is consistent with that, but we feel like the proportions also work very well. This is a 3-story building. It's a 15,000 square foot facade. So some of that vertical articulation, I think, provides some architectural interest that the Nordstrom building lacks. So I think when you put all of that together, it becomes sort of critically important that we've done what we did here and in the way that we designed the building.
Do you have more questions?
No, that's it for now.
Member Kleber, would you like to ask some questions?
Yeah, so confirming all 3 signs are the same size, correct?
That's correct.
But there's only 2 entrances.
That's correct.
I'm curious why the sign on the northerly facing side would be the same size as the signs where you have entrances. Why do you feel a sign of that size is necessary given there's no entrance there?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a symmetry to it. You know, we've had multiple entrances at other locations, and we have found that it becomes a difficult thing operationally, largely for shrink. I mean, merchandise tends to leave the entrances sometimes when you don't want it to. But you know, the easterly entrance that's on the same axis as the mall entry is the most critical. But at a place like this location at the plaza, where you have significant parking around all sides, we didn't want to sort of cut off or, you know, orphan some of the parking stalls, because parking is a huge, like, our customers drive and park. The plaza customers drive and park. So we didn't want to, you know, cut off too much of the parking. And I think that, you know, as far as why north versus south, I don't have a really good answer for that. Obviously, Nordstrom had entrances on all sides. But I think that maintaining, you know, access to a lot of the very high-quality surface parking while limiting the operational challenges of having 3 entrances is why we did that. And then the symmetry of having a repeatable sign for that brand presence on all 3 sides of the building was also important.
Thank you.
Any more questions from anybody else on the board? I didn't really have any questions. I think we'll have some discussion later, but I would like to note that there was one letter submitted in favor. It was, I think we all got it in advance and read it, and it was posted, so we're not going to read it here, but I will acknowledge that. And I think I would ask if there is anyone from the public that wanted to speak on this before we moved on. Why don't you come on up, Justine? Oh, maybe someone else. We are still going to ask that people limit their comments to 2 minutes because we do have a lot of speakers tonight. Do you want to say something?
Hi, Justine Huang, 25 Lakeside Drive, last resident facing this building. My only question I want to ask is for the lights that the building going to have, how late would it turn off, or would it be a 24-hour because it's directly facing our house? So I want to understand when is the lights that with the height that is bumping up a little bit, I understand, but I need to understand the lights, the building, because it's all glasses and as you say, light up the whole inside. And you know, what's the hours?
So it won't be all night, but I will invite the applicant to answer the hours. There are hours.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you for the question.
No,
The
wait.
light,
Is that inappropriate?
the Dick's lights will go off 1 hour after closing, within 1 hour after closing.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Staff would like to say something.
Through the board
through
to
the
Ms.
chair.
Wong, just so you're aware, the Braintree zoning ordinance limits that there's no sign to be lighted between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. currently. So they can't have 24-hour access unless currently.
If I may, so our stores operate from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Monday through Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Sundays. So the latest the lights will be on is 10 p.m. And after that, the site lights, which we actually don't control in this situation, that's the mall, I believe they run through midnight and then come on again in the early part of the morning. So what you're experiencing out there today with respect to light late at night, that is not going to change. Our signs will be off by 10 p.m. at the latest on any day of the week.
I know as you say, the Braintree.
Would you speak in the microphone, please?
I understand that as you say, Braintree is until 1 o'clock. Is it possible for us to request that, as what we were described about is 11 o'clock, to have the lights or something put it into this permit just to protect our residents. I understand that's the rule, but I want to see if there's something we can be unsure of. Thank you.
I'm going to let staff respond to that. Mr. Machek?
So I think looking at this permit, I think the applicant has proposed to shut the lights off 1 hour after closing, and so the latest these lights would be on is 10 p.m. Is that correct? And I think that is relevant to this permit and to this building alone.
That's correct, and just to reiterate, any other lights that are on around the site, around the mall, we don't control. So the ones that we do control, the latest they will ever be on is 10 p.m.
Okay. Thank you. You have someone else who would like to speak?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, board members. My name is Pat Mulcairn. I live at 12 Ellery Street. I rise in support of this variance. I'll speak as president of the Quincy Building Trade Unions. Dick's House of Sport has an impeccable record in our area, hiring with community standard wages and benefits. This project is going to bring jobs to our neighborhoods, not jobs, careers, apprentices, and registered apprenticeship programs. At the South Shore Plaza, it's swing or miss lately. It's 50-50, I'm not going to lie. For a long time, there were a lot of good construction jobs that went into that place. And for the last 5, 8, 9 years, it's been half and half. And the contractor picked for this project, he's 100% across the board all the time. He always keeps community standards in mind. So once again, I rise in support.
Thank you. Someone else would like to speak?
Hi, good evening. Mark Herzberg, 632 Washington Street. Dick's House of Sport is looking to make an investment in Braintree. It's a pretty big company, and that's something that Braintree sorely needs right now is an investment in the town. We've had other opportunities with big things. For example, Canton is making money hand over fist off of Topgolf right now. We had an opportunity for something similar to that. We didn't take it. You don't really get second chances sometimes. This is a second chance. They're not asking for a lot. I think we should give it to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Liz Page, 137 Stores Ave, and I'm the co-president of the North Braintree Civic Association. And through the chair, I would like to get clarification on the lighting concerns. Is the Dick's House of Sport light that will be located on all 3 sides of the building, will that be illuminated after the building opening hours have closed?
I think the proponent said that they turn the lights off an hour after closing. I think that's so the staff can, put things away and close down.
Sure, but
So
that was the interior lights.
No, I think it's the...
Is it? Okay, so including
It is the
Dick's
exterior
House-
lights.
Okay, all right, good. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I think maybe we would be ready to close the public hearing then. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on number 25-23.
A motion to close the hearing?
All in favor? Aye. Do the board members want to speak about their thoughts on this?
I do like the project. I do think that it brings a lot of positives, not to only Braintree, but to the neighborhood in general.
Member Kavanaugh?
Yeah, I think it's a nice design. I'm happy to see the clear story bringing some light into the interior. My only concern would have been the height of some of those parapets, but it's just feet in the grand scheme of things. So I think it's a nice design, and I think it's going to be a great business for them all.
Member Kleber, would you like to add any comments?
No, I think it's been covered. I do think the location of the proposed building there, or the existing building, does lend itself to needing some larger signage. It's difficult to find. It's kind of off to the side in the back of the mall. So I'm supportive of the variance for signage.
Thank you. So I'll make a few comments. I appreciated your showing the overlay of the existing Nordstroms and also the relationship to the Target sign, because there's already a lot of variances here. There's all kinds of different things that have happened, you know, with Nordstrom's included. And so to me, you know, you have this, it's really more than, like you said, a store. It's more of an event location. I think it's warranted. Plus, there is the slope, there is the topography. I think it's been mentioned in the past, our signage bylaws are being looked at to change because they're really not expressive of what's current or what's reasonable anymore. I don't think that this would in any way derogate any bylaw. I think there's no detriment. I think it does offer benefits, and I think, you know, it's very reasonable to grant, you know, the variances for this, and it does slope in the back, so there is a unique situation there. So I think I would entertain a motion to approve. I think we can vote on all three variances together. Oh, before I do that, I would just like concurrence that the proponent has seen and agreed to the conditions that were proposed.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, thank you. We saw them in the staff report.
yeah, make sure before we vote, because that will be part of the vote. Do you have the vote written out?
Sure, yeah. I am voting to grant these variants because the applicant has demonstrated that the shape, topography, and soil condition of the site creates a practical hardship in meeting the current zoning limitations.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have any last comments about, you will write this up, get it to them, or any follow-up comments before we move on? Okay. Thank you. Where'd Peter go? Okay, 1 minute. Okay, I think we will proceed to the next agenda item. It's okay. I don't care. They don't have to hear it. Do you think I should or just start without them? All right, we're going to open agenda item petition number 25-24, 1139 and 1151 Washington Street. I'm going to open the hearing. I will note that all zoning board members present are sitting on this matter, and the clerk will read the announcement.
Petition 2524, 139 and 1151 Washington Street. Stephen Young, Mona River LLC, applicant for relief from Braintree zoning ordinance pursuant to chapters 135, section 407, 135, section 701, 135, section 705, to construct a 43-unit multifamily residential building. The applicant seeks variances for open space per dwelling unit, density, and number of building stories.
Thank you. I will remind the rules. You know, we are going to ask people to limit their comments to 10 minutes. I'm also going to ask for 2 minutes. Otherwise, I'll have to roll up my sleeping bag. 2 minutes, my mistake. Also, I'm going to ask for decorum. Really, please refrain from cheering and clapping. I'll be respectful of everybody's opinions. Will be appreciated. We did receive several letters, both in support and against. So again, they have been read and they have been posted, and we will not be reading them aloud at the meeting. Let's see. I think I'll invite the proponent then to come up and present the project.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. My name is Tom Cavanaugh. I'm an attorney in Quincy. I'm here with Steve Young, Mona River LLC, the applicant, as well as Brad McKenzie from McKenzie Engineering, the engineering firm on the project as well. As you know, the project's located at 1139, 1151 Washington Street. This area is zoned general business. It's the site of the former current Dalton Water. It's comprised of 4 assessors lots. Those 4 assessors lots equal 1.84 acres or 80,402 square feet. The current use of the property is non-conforming. It's an industrial use. The current buildings on the property are non-conforming. They're industrial buildings. In addition, there's 2 dwellings, a whole bunch of gravel, trucks, storage units, water pools. All those are located within the 100-foot floodplain. I suggest this site does have a hardship. That hardship is created by, I would suggest, the shape, soil, and topography. In addition, it's located within the 100-year floodplain, the riverfront buffer zone, and bordering vegetative wetlands. If you look at the shape of the lot is essentially an upside-down pork chop. The northeast corner of Washington Street to the southwest area of the site, there's a 15-foot grade change. Along Washington Street, there's a 10-foot grade change. The depths of this site vary from 184 feet to 434 feet. The widths vary from 246 feet to 106 feet. The soil conditions on the riverfront and environmental concerns that close to the riverfront make it nearly impossible to build in. Unlike other parcels in this area, they're less constrained by the roadway, the industrial site, the resource area, which then creates a narrow buildable area. In the area, there are other multifamily sites, religious institutions, medical, fast food, restaurants, and shops. This is what I would consider one of the anchors to the South Braintree Square. This is where, coming north on Route 37 from Holbrook, you enter Braintree. As you saw in the application, there is substantial steps that the applicant is going to make to revitalize that riverfront area. That riverfront area is severely degraded. He has championed to undertake to revitalize that area. That is a substantial resource area. It is a a very environmentally sensitive area as well, which he understands, but he has agreed to take on that task. The proposal is to raise all existing structures, clean up the site, and construct 43 units. This would be served with 90 parking spots, bike storage, EV charging, revitalized riverfront, adequate drainage to deal with the flood constraints and runoff. All the green area, green space, open space is going to be improved with substantial landscaping. He's proposing 4 stories, as you may have remembered at the last hearing. The proposal for the 4 stories is to adequately account for the parking. So he does meet the parking, but the bottom floor will not be habitable space. The bottom floor will be, majority of it will be for parking. There'll be some storage areas, some bike areas, the vestibule or where you enter. The reason for that 4th story is to get the parking away from that environmentally sensitive area in the riverfront and to revitalize that riverfront. The open space, as you're aware, in the general business district is 10%. We're proposing 40%. However, with multifamily, that's where that gets triggered. There is a different requirement of 2,000 square feet per unit. We're proposing 800 square feet per unit. The density now, the ratio, if you remember from the last hearing, was in the 30s. We're now at 23.3. Way below, as you will see in the staff report, of similar projects in and around this area. Notwithstanding that, we will meet the parking demands as well. I'd suggest that based on all these hardships, this is ripe for relief via the requested variances. The location of the building, keeping parking out of the resource area, and we believe that relief can be granted without a substantial detriment to the public good. This is a mixed-use area. There's businesses, there's homes, small businesses, there's restaurants. This is a place where I believe 43 units would help the Braintree Square immensely. There's going to be huge improvements to the environmental sensitive areas I discussed. There's increased tax revenue. And as I just mentioned, these people will now frequent these shops, go to these restaurants, which then brings in revenue to these small businesses in town. The project also meets all density requirements, dimensional requirements. As you'll see in the plan, it's not right up to some of the setbacks either. It's quite far away. So there's no dimensional relief sought here. This is one of the largest lots in this area. This lot is ripe for this type of building. There's smaller lots in this area who were granted greater ratio relief when it comes to units per acre. I think the town has an opportunity to revitalize a parcel that's currently non-conforming, that is severely degraded resource area, and riverfront, and construct something multifamily, less ratios that's been previously allowed, that's aesthetically pleasing, and has improved landscaping, stormwater management, and flood controls. Mr. Young has some revised plans that I know that you guys all have. However, he was going to pull those up and he was going to run through them for you as well.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm here tonight with Attorney Kavanaugh and also Brad McKenzie from McKenzie Engineering. Thank you in advance for your consideration tonight, as we've taken the board's feedback seriously, and I'm happy to submit a revised version of the project that we hope will address the concerns raised. As Attorney Kavanaugh mentioned, instead of 63 units, which was the initial proposal back when I first entered into this process, we are now looking at a reduced total of 43 units. This change brings the project into compliance with the town's parking requirement of 2 spaces per unit and eliminates the need for a parking variance. We will now offer 10% affordable units, providing a meaningful contribution towards Braintree's housing diversity and affordability goals. Importantly, this reduction in unit count was accompanied by a significant reduction in building size in order for the project to remain financially feasible. While this presented many design challenges, it also created an opportunity to meaningfully reduce the scale and massing of the building, particularly along the Jefferson Street side, helping to lessen the impact on nearby single-family homes. So if you look at the drawing here on the screen, the canary, the yellow-colored shading, rectangle, represents the allowable building limit dimensionally. You can see on the left there's a 50-foot building height, and then the dashed lines are the property lines, so 10 feet side yard setback. So by right, that's how large the building could be. It could fill that yellow envelope. If you focus now to the right of the entry, that wing has been substantially reduced. Both the building footprint and the overall area have become smaller. This northern wing, adjacent to Jefferson Street, has shifted away from the side property line for a new total of 30 feet away for the above grade portion of that building. An entire floor was removed from that wing of the building as well, for an above grade total of 24 feet at that northern corner, despite 50 feet being allowable. Of note, this is shorter than the single-family residence on the corner of Washington and Jefferson Street. The balconies were removed from the northern facade, which I'll show you in a second. So if you can see my mouse here, similar to the southern wing, to the north of the entrance, there was an additional third story here, and we came over to 15 feet from the property line. That was what the last design that was submitted in front of this board showed. So we moved the above grade portion of the northern wing from 15 feet, say here, back to 30, an additional 15 feet back. So for a total of 30, and we took the third story off as well. I keep saying for the above ground portion because the ground level, the non-habitable lowest level, I did keep that at the same dimensionally. We could not reduce that because that would affect my parking. So I tried to reduce the above grade size of the building while leaving the parking level the same. That was the design intent. Happy to answer more questions about that. Here's a plain rendering, if you will, just showing the front facade, similar to what we just saw. Here's a perspective of that corner showing the 2 stories. I have a better perspective here, which will allow the board to appreciate this corner. So again, 2 stories above grade here on the northern corner abutting Jefferson Street, no balconies, and you can see the below grade portion of the parking poking out. That will be at or below grade. So this represents the fence of that property. That's the white rectangle there. And there's one more. Here's another view which will help to realize the design intent here. So again, 2 stories facing Jefferson Street, a 30-foot recessed on the first and second floor of that northern wing, and And that building is substantially reduced from the 3 stories and the previous footprint of the northern wing. The overall footprint, as I mentioned, was reduced and became smaller. And again, the overall wing shifted away from Jefferson Street. At 43 units, this project reflects a new density of approximately 23.2 units per acre, well below several recently approved contemporary developments in town, ranging from 30 to 37 units per acre. Notably, those projects demonstrated hardship and were granted density relief, despite facing far fewer site and environmental constraints. We believe the hardship that Attorney Kavanaugh mentioned is real. It's significantly limiting, and we feel this new revised direction represents a fair and balanced path forward. It eliminates a long-standing, non-conforming industrial use and the associated noise from tanker trucks entering and exiting South Braintree Square. It restores the inadequate river resource through modern flood mitigation where none currently exists, removes invasive species, remediates blighted environmental conditions, and eliminates the chlorine pools currently located along the riverbank. Together with the inclusion of needed affordable housing and the generation of new tax revenue, this proposal offers a meaningful opportunity to transform a challenging site into a community and environmental asset for Braintree. While the October application proposed 43 units, that version did not include the 10% affordable component at the time of application. After hearing community feedback, and should the board otherwise be inclined to consider approval tonight, we would be willing to accept a condition of reducing the 43 market units to 39 units while adding 4 affordable units for a new total of for the same total of 43. With this adjustment, the project continues to fully comply with the parking. If you have any environmental or site questions, Brad McKenzie is happy to answer, and Attorney Kavanaugh and I are happy to discuss anything else. Here's a drawing, a flat elevation of the northern facade. You can see here at Washington Street, the design intent was 2 stories. As the slight topo's back, again, site soil topography, this trying to use that as an opportunity to hide the parking under the building. This is the drawing from the rear facade, so from the river, if you will. Here's a parking plan for the project. Again, all revised to modify the footprint, making it smaller, making the northern wing smaller. The southern wing got slightly larger, but the overall size of the footprint and size of the building did reduce significantly. Various floor plans, first, second, and third floor. You can see the majority of this northern wing roof here is just a roof, substantially set back from the roof. We have one private deck for a unit there and one common roof deck abutting the entrance to the property. Again, 30, probably 60 feet back from the property line. No balconies on that facade anymore. So this just goes back to the original application, which I know this board was not privy to, but just provide some data showing the reduction of units, reduction of living area, the addition of parking spots, the increase of parking spots per unit, the increase of the Jefferson Street side yard landscape buffer, the decrease of the density, the maximum building height stayed the same, but of note, as mentioned before, the building height on that northern wing was substantially reduced to 2 stories, and then the distance away from that side property line. Not seeking any dimensional variances, as Attorney Kavanaugh mentioned, regarding side yard, front yard, or rear yard setbacks. Of note on the parking level here, in order to get in and out of these 3 spaces, it's, let me go to the site plan. There's a bump out and a little 3 or 4 foot turnaround, maybe 5 feet turnaround. I'll see in the site plan next. You can see it here in the rendering to allow cars to sort of back out and turn away. It'll be most evident and most accurate on the, so those 2 bump outs, which will be below grade, do abut the 10-foot setback. So again, not seeking any relief for dimensional setbacks, but just wanted to mention that to the board. Technically, our side yard setback on this northern facade is 10 feet, despite the building itself on the 1st and 2nd floors being 30 feet away from the Jefferson Street properties. Be happy to answer any questions, and Brad McKenzie's here as well to answer any site/environmental related questions.
Thank you. Board members?
So
Member Perez? Yep.
just to make sure, you said 43 units,
Total.
10% will be affordable housing?
Correct.
So the number is really 39 plus 4?
Plus 39 plus 4, correct,
Okay.
for a total of 43.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? Member Perez?
Not at the moment.
Member Kavanaugh? Would you like any comments, questions?
Yeah, I have
before we
some.
open?
Yep, thank you. This is probably an environmental question. There are a lot of site constraints. Can you tell us what type of environmental regulations you'll have to adhere to, being so close to the inadequate? And also what that entails specifically for the site?
Good evening, Brad McKenzie, McKenzie Engineering Group. We're the civil engineers for the project. As Attorney Kavanaugh and Mr. Young mentioned, the site has several sensitive resource areas that extend from the Manattaquit River. There's the 200-foot riverfront area that extends well into the developed portion of the site. There's bordering land subject to flooding, which is also known as the 100-year floodplain, and bordering vegetated wetland, which extends from the Manattaquit River. You are at the site visit that we had under the previous application. You saw what condition the 25-foot local no disturb buffer is in. There are chlorinated pools within the buffer, almost in the wetland. There are no stormwater controls for the site presently, so the water quality that is being directed to these sensitive resource areas is compromised. There's no stormwater renovation, no attenuation of peak rates of runoff. The project will need to comply with the Braintree Stormwater Ordinance and regulations, the Mass DEP Wetlands Protection Act regulations, and local wetland bylaw and regulations, as well as the state stormwater management regulations. So the site, although it's somewhat of a redevelopment site, the site will comply with all of the standards under the current state stormwater regulations. So there'll be water quality, there'll be stormwater renovation through a treatment stream of best management practices that will greatly improve the water quality that is being directed towards the wetland resource areas. Of course, there'll be a notice of intent application filed with the Conservation Commission and Mass DEP, and an order of conditions will be required from the Conservation Commission to approve the construction of the project. So I hope I answered your question.
Not right now, no.
Member Kleber, would you like any comments, clarifications?
Yeah, question for Mr. Young regarding the financial pro forma here. So the previous applications, you were pretty adamant that you couldn't come down any further in your previous application. What has changed with this one where you can now come down to 43 units and still make money?
Good question. Three things. One, a rate drop in interest rates affected the pro forma, or for the assumed rate. Two, a smaller building, a whole story less, and like I said, the overall building changed. Nothing with the site plan really changed. Trying to, for dear life, hold on to these environmental improvements that many of which are not required but are all being offered, in addition to a rate change and an anticipated rate change. So it's a less expensive building to build without all those balconies on the northern facade. And basically those three items, it's right at the debt service coverage ratio. It's right at 1.25. So I appreciate you asking that.
Okay. So clarifying that, I imagine this is as small as you can go?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is to say, you wouldn't be withdrawing tonight if it becomes clear that the board may not approve this and come back with a smaller request in the future? Like, this is it?
This is it.
Okay.
There's other concerned parties regarding this I professionally have a schedule to, yeah, so this is it.
Okay.
Thank you for understanding that.
Thank you.
Sure.
So you are committing to the 10% within the 43?
Correct.
Okay. So I think, okay. I think we'd like to open it up for public comments now. If any of the public would like to speak.
Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. My name is Pat Mulcairn. I live at 12 Ellery Street. I staunchly oppose this project. Hearing the developer's hardships, honestly, I hear rubbish. The shape is a hardship. I'm sure that they could absolutely build the amount of units permitted on any plot of land, whether it looks like an upside-down pork chop or a sideways rack of ribs. 4 stories of parking. Yep, parking, they don't need a variance. We figured that out, 2 units, 2 cars per unit. But in order to get parking okay, they have to go up another story. Sounds like they pick one over the other thinking that'll get it approved. It's absolutely a detriment to the public good of our neighborhood. It forever changes it. And for those of you in the room that want to disagree about the traffic at the intersection of Washington and Jefferson, as well as the light at the tree, you're being absolutely disingenuous. It takes 7 to 10 minutes to pull off of Jefferson Street as it is right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Rob Kadire, 306 Washington Street. I'm opposed to this project. Once again, not much has changed with the project from the last time. It's really not much smaller. While the developer is highlighting its decrease in units from 56 to 43, a 23% reduction, the number of bedrooms, which is the key factor, which he did not speak to, only decreased by 6. The previous proposal had 83 bedrooms. This one has 77. That's a 7% decrease. This project hasn't changed much. It's just been rearranged. Only a 7% decrease from the version of the project that this board shot down just a few months ago. This one is essentially the same, only with more 2-bedroom units, which will contribute much more greatly to school enrollment costs as well as traffic. Using the numbers from the Armstrong site, which are likely lowballed, it's expected that 20% of market rate 2-bedrooms will have school-age students, and 57% of affordable 2-bedroom units will have school-age children. We would be expecting 7 to 10 students, depending on the allocation in factoring in the IEP ratio. School enrollment costs will be likely between $150,000 and $200,000 alone. Additionally, 43 units at 4 affordable is 9.3% affordable, which is under safe harbor. On design, it's ugly. We've all brought that up. And it clashes heavily with the neighborhood around it. For most residents, their home is their single largest investment. For the residents of the area, Jefferson Street, Hancock Street, Washington Street, Shepherd Road, Hancock, Highland Ave, Smith Street, and Smith Terrace, their investment and their property values will plummet. With all that said, with only a 7% decrease, in the spirit of the World Series tonight, can't believe I'm rooting for the Blue Jays, but here we are. It's time to call strike 3 on this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen Green, 161 Jefferson Street. I'm also opposed. I was bringing up the same, I'm looking at the 3 different proposals that came up. The first one was 63 units, 41 one-bedroom, 22 two-bedrooms, total of 85 bedrooms. The second was 59 units with 35 one-bedroom and 24 two-bedroom, which is 83 bedrooms. And this one is 2 one-bedrooms and 41 two-bedrooms, which is actually 84 bedrooms. It's really not a substantial change. It's the same project. And he said, well, it's the financial hardship and everything. He's going to make the same amount of money on selling these apartments, but he's going to save a ton of money on the construction. This is all about money. It's about nothing else. The other thing I want to bring up is everybody here is opposed to this. I've been in several of these meetings. There's hardly anyone ever shows up to oppose anything. This is everyone's opposed. The last meeting I came to, 2 projects, small projects in neighborhoods, were denied by the board with no opposition. I mean, you have to take into consideration this is definitely not wanted by anybody in the neighborhood. It's all well and good. If this is passed, it's going to set a precedent in this town, and it can go anywhere. It can go in your neighborhood, it can go anywhere in here. And we're trying to stop it from permeating the whole town. It's not right. It doesn't fit. We want something where there's some kind of commitment by someone to be part of the community. They haven't done anything for us to show us that they really believe in us. All they do is they believe in themselves, and they don't believe in Braintree. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just point out that I wouldn't assume that everyone in this room is here for the same reason. People can speak for themselves. Thank you.
Good evening, Matt Mulcairn, 28 Ellery Street. I think it's very important that Braintree does develop and grow, and we need tax revenue. The plaza's not the same as it always was. I get it, but I think it's all about the right development in the right locations. If I have the number wrong, excuse me, but I think at a prior meeting they said it was zoned for 27 units. They said when it was in the 60s and the 50s, they said they couldn't make money on it then. They're saying the same thing tonight, and 43's it, but they've said that before. And I graduated from Braintree schools. I want the money for the town. I want the town to grow. I think it really needs to, but I think it's really about the type of projects and the locations, and I just don't think this fits in our neighborhood. Even just comparing developments there, I know it's apples and oranges there, across the street, the RMV, everywhere. Just the 27 originally was, I think, made a lot more sense. So I do rise in opposition to it. And I think the pressure of saying this is it, we've all heard it before. When is it actually true? Thank you.
Thank you.
Justine Huang, 25 Lakeside Drive. Sorry. I have 3 concerns. The first concern, I'm not a civil engineer, but I'm a process improvement specialist. The first concern I looked at the plan was the fire safety. These plans only one way coming into the building with the 43 unit at the end adjust to the neighborhood. There's no access. So if there's a fire, especially you put a rooftop party space on top, next to the neighborhood, if there's a fire, how easy would that be to the next neighborhood? Because I'm looking at the plan, it's coming from the existing entrance all the way, but there's no access from the neighborhood. So it's one way. And how is the fire truck coming to the unit and how it's going to turn around? And second thing also is because the building is underneath the building. Does Braintree has any procedure or regulation procedure for our fire department in terms of the fire safety if EV is caught fire in this building? Especially last time, Mr. Yang says they're going to have 29 EV charger. So this is my major concern is, does our fire department has procedure if there's an EV fire in such building like this? And if there's a fire on the adjacent building next to Washington Street? Thank you. How would that be evacuated? The last one is, there's an environment issue. Do we get easement as a town to get access to the river behind it? Because I own a building that has environment issue and we give easement in other towns. Why not Braintree ask for easement on this location? Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ashley Duffy. I'm at 1356 Washington Street. I come to oppose the third proposal by Mr. Young. Looking at it and I'm listening, I heard about all the hardships, but to me the only hardship I see is the financial benefit of the developer. They chose to purchase land zoned for not what they're trying to build. Which leads me to the question, since when does the financial benefit of an out-of-town developer circumvent the wellness and the needs of the community and the neighborhood at large? We are a tight-knit community. I've said this before. We deserve to be heard. Speaking about that, Mr. Young has brought this forward 2 other times. We've spoken, we've given our feedback. He has not listened. There are many things that could be done to make this more aesthetically pleasing and to make it beneficial for the town. A few things I had noted: gabled or mansard roofs. The flat line of this apartment complex is nothing to benefit the neighborhood. Vegetation in between the apartment complex and the houses on Jefferson and Washington. There's no buffer area. And where is the financial benefit to the town and where is the benefit to the community? Is there a playground? Are there jobs being provided? Because at the moment, what Mr. Young is proposing gives us a potential benefit of $100,000. $100,000. And that is if he is able to fill all rooms and all apartments to capacity, which I find very hard to believe. Thank you. I just want to end that again. Productive, beneficial development is needed. Dick's House of Sports, lovely. This provides nothing to the town. Thank you.
Hello, Liz Page, 137 Stores Ave, and I am the co-president of the North Braintree Civic Association. I sent a letter to you folks later this afternoon. I don't know if you read it, but my letter is raising an opposition to this proposal. I won't read my whole letter, but I will read you one paragraph where I say, as proposed, this project will have a detrimental impact on the surrounding neighborhood. Despite repeated requests at multiple meetings for the design to be made more compatible with nearby homes, the developer has not adequately addressed these concerns. The scale and the character of the proposed apartment building does not fit within the existing neighborhood and will likely have a negative impact on nearby property values. The town of Braintree also recently adopted a master plan, and this plan clearly identifies the protection of residential neighborhoods to be a top priority. Approving this proposal will be in direct contradiction of that vision. I hope you will deny this project tonight, and I do have to say that other developers have risen to at least somewhat change their design. This is a couple of boxes on top of boxes. It's ugly. It is going to have a negative impact. It was mentioned earlier by one of their spokespeople that there would not be any kind of a negative impact on the community. Well, it certainly would have a negative impact, and as you can see, all the residents here are expressing their concern. How will their hardship be addressed after you address this hardship? I think you need to weigh it out, and I think the neighborhood, which was there long before this, has much greater hardships. So I want to just end with, I don't think the third time is a charm. I think you deny this. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Laura Valentine, 65 Shepherd Road. Thanks for hearing me tonight. I'm probably going to echo some of the comments that my neighbors have made here, but this just really feels to me like trying to, fit a square peg into a round hole. It's, if there's just so much hardship when it comes to building on this land, and there's a variances needed that, maybe this just land isn't the right fit. I mean, I just think that why should it be so important to the town that Steve makes money on this project? I don't think that's what this should be all about. So I just think giving all this back and forth and the three proposals, this just perhaps is not the right project for this land. And I mean, my opinion is this is just not going to be additive to the community, not like Dick's Sporting Goods. I think that's fantastic. And, that's something our town needs. But when we think about the minuscule amount of revenue that this whole project is going to bring, it just doesn't add up. I'm just opposed, and I just kind of in alignment with a lot of my neighbors and what they're saying here tonight. So again, thank you for your time and for hearing us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joe Holland. I live on Tremont Street in Braintree. I'm here to endorse this project. I think the developer and the architect has done a thoughtful design that fits well on this site, and the design is consistent regarding density with past projects that the previous board has approved. In addition to that, this project will have well-needed tax increases and revenue increases for the town that's desperately needed. We have an amazing school system in this town, but quite frankly, with incredible teachers, incredible administrators, but quite frankly, the buildings are an embarrassment to this town. And tax revenue, like for projects like this, will only benefit us so that we can fix our school buildings and we can have buildings that are commensurate to the brand of teaching and administrators that work in this town. Lastly, I'd like to mention that if this project is denied, the unintended consequences of that could be that this falls into a commercial project that could have a detrimental impact to the community. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good evening. How you doing? I'm Mark McDonough. I live at 117 Jefferson Street, and I oppose this project. I don't think that any rooftop amenities should be allowed to the way too close adjacent houses. The town is already growing, 750 units at Armstrong, 350 units at South Shore Plaza, 50 units across the street at the lumber yard. I mean, how much more do we need to be built? It's getting awfully congested, but thank you.
Thank you. Could I just request that maybe you allow those who have not spoken to speak first?
I'll go last, absolutely. That's perfectly fair.
Thank you.
There was no one in line when I got in.
I know. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Connor Graney and my wife Victoria, 75 Shepherd Road. My wife and I recently moved to the neighborhood, and our abutters located behind the Dalton property along the river. We are opposed to this project due to the increased traffic, scale of development, and overall negative impact to the neighborhood and town. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I think
Like my husband said, traffic is a major concern. We can't even get out of our street, like many of our neighbors have said in the morning, and I've really heard nothing from the developer about ways that that could be addressed. I think we've, heard a lot of other things, but it seems like the major issues are unfortunately not being addressed from our perspective. And we really want to kind of stay here long-term and grow our family here, but we're really concerned already with the cut-through cars that come through our neighborhood. It's not always safe for children, and we've heard a lot of concerns from our neighbors, and we're just concerned for our future here if this, gets approved. So we're really hoping the board takes our considerations seriously and doesn't move forward with the project. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eileen Ballot. I'm at 10 Jefferson Street, and this project is literally in my backyard. We have been here for 39 years, raised our family, went through the public school system, my children. We love Braintree. We love our neighborhood. We love this community. We know all the negativity that is coming with this project. It's not safe. The traffic is horrendous. We've got cars pulling in out of the tree, which doesn't have enough parking, Dunkin' Donuts, and now we're going to have cars pulling in and out of this apartment complex. Not to mention, Jefferson is a cut-through with no sidewalks. It's not safe for the children. You can't even walk a dog safely. Never mind the noise. And what about the lighting with this project? What about where are the dumpsters going to be placed? Who's going to manage the property once the developer has pulled out and got his money? Please take in consideration the neighbors, the neighborhood, the residents, our community. It's very, very upsetting, this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. John Higgins, 1217 Washington Street. No disrespect meant, but I still don't get how I have 2 minutes. I've been a resident for 40 years, but everybody else that doesn't really care about the neighborhood talks as long as they want. Okay, end of that. I have to pull over so Braintree Police and the fire department can get through my neighborhood at 3 o'clock. I go to work at 5:30. I drive from Boston on the Southeast Expressway to get home. It takes me longer to get from the other side of Braintree near Archie's to here. Okay, end of that. This has no benefit for our community in most of the developments going on. Okay? I know a lot of Braintree police. I know a lot of Braintree firefighters. This is all putting a burden on them. Why are we just making apartments? We all know why. They should be condominiums at the least. They should be smaller units. And the reason they should be condominiums, because then everybody pays taxes the same and they care about their neighborhood. We keep getting more and more people that don't care. Just so you know, I left this meeting the last time we got out here at 10 o'clock because we were put at the end of it. I'm a 60-year-old man. I'm in good shape. I walked to Shaw's to try to get a soda and a bag of chips to relax after this. I don't know what to call it. I had a gentleman follow me. Guess what? Yeah, see, there you go. You're telling me, no disrespect? 2 minutes for a resident? 40 years? This guy, he don't care. No disrespect. He's a businessman. This gentleman followed me. Guess what? I had a surprise for him. He didn't jump me like he was trying to do. And this is going to keep going up. So don't let your wife and daughter or your son of a young age go out by themselves. Okay? This is the effect it's having on our community, plain and simple. I've coached here. I live here. I love here. Care about our community, not the money. Because we're not going to benefit from this money. We're not going to benefit from the other 700 units that are going up across the street. We're not going to benefit from the ones over at the mall. We're not going to benefit from the ones that are at the old Beld site. It's destroying the town, plain and simple. I'm glad this is being recorded. I watch it myself on the video. No disrespect meant. I'm upset. I care about our community. It's not about the money.
Thank you.
Jim Diuti, 633 Pond Street. I was going to actually refer to the map, but so my children both go to Liberty, and which is in the catchment area for this area, and my daughter has the habit of missing the bus. And oftentimes, we have to come down Washington Street so I can drive her to Liberty. And the time it takes me to make that turn and come down to the tree can be 9 minutes, 12 minutes. And I don't even live on Jefferson Street. I can't imagine how bad it is for the residents. I'm opposed to this project not only on top of the traffic mitigation issues, but also because of the overcrowding at both at Liberty School and Highlands. And also, the size of this project on this parcel sets a bad precedent for the town, that if you have it here, then the next thing could be Minto, another project coming in, and you have overdevelopment of small parcels of land. I'm for development in a smart, comprehensive way that the neighborhood agrees with. This is not that case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hong. I'm the director of Neighboring Abutter at 8 Jefferson Street. So you see my house shown up in many slides on this. So I'm opposed to this project similar to what everyone is opposing for traffic as well as mass and scale and outer characters. And in addition to Mr. Young mentioned about pro forma in terms of financial, that he scaled back the building to make it work, and wondering whether or not he can scale even more further to make it work for his persona. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening. Kevin Kiley, 26 Jefferson Street. Longtime listener, first-time commenter. I still oppose this project. There's a concept in real estate called highest and best use. I still don't think that Mr. Young is reaching the highest and best use. Looking at this pork chop, it's going to kind of take over our neighborhood. And I think, with all due respect, it might be helpful for them to learn that this is not South Braintree Square. They don't even know the neighborhood. So I'm going to leave it there. I think you should send them back to the drawing board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kim Hulk. I live at 175 Jefferson Street. As you all know, we've been here before several times, talking about the same property with the same issues. It's gone through different plans, different unit numbers, and now we're on to a new name. But the concerns have always been the same, and honestly, it's frustrating to stand here again facing another version that's going to be detrimental to our neighborhood. What's even more frustrating is how the residents, the people here in this room who actually live here, and how we've been treated. In the last meeting, we were referred to as a bunch of loud residents, when in reality, we're just neighbors trying to have a voice. Some of us have tried to offer suggestions and work and find a reasonable response to this development. Something that will fit the character of the area, but instead, we are met with pushback and focus that is more on a wallet and the bottom line than what is right for our community. We are not against development. We want responsible development, something that respects the zoning and the scale and the people who call this place home. We are asking the board to really listen to those that live in this neighborhood, who raise our families here and care deeply about preserving the safety and character of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Robert Tomar. I live in Central Ave. It's kind of cool that Steve listened to you from the last time, because you told him you would consider it if he knocked it down to 43. That's great. Anytime somebody comes and wants to develop in Braintree, if they want to make the investment, they should go to the neighborhood, they should read all the rules. If there's an existing condition like pollution, that should be handled before the P&S is even considered. I don't know why that hasn't been brought up yet by anyone. That's important. They're going to fix it. It's been going on for 50 years. No such thing as grandfathered in any law. Are we going to start making that a precedent in Braintree? I don't think so. That wouldn't be a good idea. If he wanted to come in and just go along with the rules that already exist, he would still need to talk to the community to make certain that their needs are met while he makes the money and leaves. We don't even know who's going to live there afterwards, and we don't know what the cost for the town is going to be till afterwards. That's why If he's going to make an investment, he should stick with what he's buying for a parcel. He should agree with the seller if there's a pre-existing condition that they mitigate it. Because if you guys give a variance in this litigation, you bring the town into it too. Why would you do that? You guys are all smart. I respect you because you took over for a bad thing that happened. And he took your advice. Okay, he took your advice. I think that's excellent. But what he should do now is he should go back and say, everybody, every abutter and everybody in the neighborhood wants him to make it to whatever's there, and they want him to come to them and say, what can I do for you so I can put my development there? He's not doing that. I don't know why. Good luck, guys. I really mean it. And sorry about the last time.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Valine Weeks. I live at 1265 Washington Street. I'm also president of the Dye Hill Civic Association. I've been a resident for 32 years, and the Dye Hill Civic Association represents about 150 homes and residents, and we have banded together to fight this project on different aspects of it. And it's important that you see that this project has already been rejected 2 different times by 2 different ZBA boards, and the developer has done little to alter this project to any adequate degree, even with the outcry of the town residents. The residents have spoken out about many aspects of this project, including the scale, the density, the unacceptable level of additional traffic that we will need to absorb, and the building not blending with the character of Braintree and the neighborhood. The developer has not substantially altered the project with each new submission. He is still seeking 3 variances, and that just shows that this property is not adequate to support this project. And from attending past ZBA meetings and seeing how challenging getting variances can be, I challenge any resident to try to seek 3 variances for a project, because most people will be lucky to get 1. These apartments will now consist of 41 2-bedroom units and 2 1-bedroom units, and we have been told by the developer that these units will be designed for upper middle class living. They will mostly likely be people looking to move to Braintree for our school system, which already has an unmanageable budget. And with the likelihood that a significant number of children will be residing there, the developer has taken into consideration where these children will play and congregate. The developer is already seeking a variance for open space. Has he have an area for kids to play and congregate? And was that taken into consideration? We understand that the property will be developed, but it should be done in a manner that will not be detrimental to the abutting neighborhood. This proposal, as is, will certainly hurt the property value of these homeowners. No resident should be put into financial hardship by having their property devalued and the quality of their life jeopardized to benefit developers' prosperity. I hope you will deny this request and do what's right for the residents that have been there and have invested in their properties. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Paula Connolly, and I live on 79 Shepherd Road, abutting the Dalton Water property, where the water from the Dalton Water property enters my backyard. Regarding the request for the variances for density, open space per unit, and number of stories, the concern with the density variance is that it drives every other impact: parking, traffic, open space, and neighborhood character. Although multifamily dwellings may be erected in general business, the square footage requirement is there for a purpose. In my opinion, mentioned in the application, 135-601 does not need to be considered, as housing opportunities are being provided on suitable parcels meant to provide denser housing. This parcel does not serve that different general purpose. This parcel abuts a neighborhood, and these requirements were there to protect it, not to change it. The general business district exists to encourage carefully planned, balanced development, not high-density residential housing development. The density is going to affect traffic. I'm sure you have seen the study we had done, which denoted our neighborhood is already a cut-through. It will worsen as the people who live in the Highlands will be affected even more. As far as open space, the bylaw of open space is for environmental protection, public health, urban design, and livability. It is to avoid overbuilding on lots and to ensure adequate light and privacy between buildings. It is to maintain neighborhood aesthetics and property values. 808 square foot per unit shortage is not insufficient. This lot requires 86,000 square feet of open space. The proposal offers 34,000 square feet of open space, but is short the same amount. That is quite significant. They are only meeting 50% of what is required, and this signals too much structure for the size of the lot. The previous approvals of density and open space requirements are different from that being sought here. The neighborhood concerns are different, the traffic implications are different, and this application does need to be considered on its own independent merits. Otherwise, why have zoning bylaws? Granting the variances would effectively rezone the property by variance, which is not the board's role. Zoning is not supposed to technically rewrite the zoning rules through variances. An approval effectively rezones the property to a higher density district. That is not the purpose of a variance, which is meant only to relieve a unique hardship, not change policy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark Duffy, 1356 Washington Street. I've been a teacher and coach in town for the last 20 plus years, a resident of Braintree most of my life. I stand here in front of you opposed to this project. I think there's one person who benefits from this entire thing, the developer who chose to do apartments and transient population versus permanent housing and some residents that would be there for a long time. I just feel like this is not the space for this. It's taxing on our schools, taxing on our police, and taxing on our fire, and it's not worth it. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sheila Cochran. I live at 1258 Washington Street. I also own and operate a business at 17 Stores Avenue. I come before you in opposition of this project. This would be the third application, and I sat here in the audience last time when this board carefully asked the developer to go back to the drawing board. At that time, he was seeking 4 variances, and I think this board was concerned that 4 variances were being sought for one project. He came back before you with 3 variances. I appreciated the question tonight that asked what changed from your project. You came before this board and said it was only financially feasible for you to do it the way you said before. What he neglected to tell you in his answer was he changed it by 5 bedrooms. He reduced the unit number but increased the bedroom number. So the amount of people coming in and out of that neighborhood remains the same. The potential tax on Highlands Elementary School and South Middle School remains the same. This board is charged with a responsibility, and I do appreciate that you are a new board, and I've watched you carefully, and you do take the time, and you do read the applications, and you do ask the right questions. What the residents and the neighbors are asking you to do is to do the right thing tonight and deny this application, because it will, under your responsibility, substantially be more detrimental to the neighborhood than the current non-conforming structure. Of the 3 variances he seeks, he only meets 40% of the open space unit that is required. Of the unit density, he only meets the requirement by 32%. Not only is he seeking these variances, he's seeking these variances in a large request to reduce what he is obligated to do. I agree that you have heard, I'm assuming from the letters that you've heard some people in support of this, as the chairwoman noted. You've heard from one proponent tonight, from a resident of Braintree, but you will look around, and I don't think there is anybody else here who attended this meeting that is in support of this. So as the residents and the neighbors of Dyer Hill, we ask that you deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Andrew Kazakis from 105 St. Clair Street, Braintree. I'm just up to oppose traffic, schools. It just doesn't fit. It's no different than it was 2 years ago. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Tony Stevens, 221 Jefferson Street. Just one thing I wanted to point out is in one of these drawings, they used the one house that's at the top of the street to show that it's equal width. That's a significant incline on that street. So there's 4 or 5 houses behind that. That's still going to be the green monster behind them. That doesn't, you know, the neighborhood here has shown that, you know, I don't know if that was on purpose, but I just wanted to let you guys know that that's a thought you should think of. Thank you.
Thank you. You've been very patient. Thank you.
I've been working on it. I just want to remind you guys that it's okay to just say no. Our town shouldn't be held hostage by a developer that's now claimed 3 times that he can't downsize because he can't make it work to make a profit. There are going to be plenty of as-of-right buildings coming down the pipeline around here. We all know that. We've seen them coming. We're working on it now. We're not going to be able to say no to some of those. We need to be strong enough to say no to the developments that do not belong in our town. And we really need you to stand up for the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we want a 5-minute break? No? Yes? Yes. Let's take a 5-minute break. Thank you. We're going to start up again. Thank you, everybody. I'm looking for the applicant. Oh, he's coming. So there were a lot of comments and a lot of issues raised, and I want to ask the applicant, is there any of these issues that were raised that you would like to respond to? The lightings, the dumpsters, the fire design, setbacks, anything that you would like to address that was brought up?
I would like...
You know, can I just clarify? You guys keep saying proponents. Every proponent gets more than 2 minutes. If you are a proponent, you get what you need to discuss your project. There is a big difference. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd love to respond to every comment, and I take each comment from the abutters and residents to heart. That's a very genuine statement. On a practical note, I would like to comment on a traffic concern, which seems to be sort of up there regarding common themes among neighbors' comments. Early on, at the higher unit count, I engaged Jeff Dirk from Van Ness and Associates to do a traffic study. The results of that study, Brad, you could help me, 2 additional trips per hour during peak times. 1 car every 2 minutes. The important part, 2 things to consider with traffic. 1, there's traffic and a usage, and then there's traffic and an associated usage that will go away when Dalton Water closes. That provides a credit, if you will. Dalton Water creates traffic. Whether it's 1% or 99%, it creates traffic. So that is a credit that Jeff Dirk considered, number 1. Number 2, multifamily residential use is the least traffic contributor of the allowed uses of this general business site. If I don't build something here, commercial, drive-through, restaurant, whatever, this could have a more substantial impact on traffic than what I'm proposing. I can't claim that it's going to be less traffic. I can claim that according to Jeff Dirk, it's insignificant, and I just wanted to, I also personally think that not having the semi-trucks in and out of the bordering of South Braintree Square would also be an attribute for the neighborhood. I just wanted to comment on traffic, so thank you. I'm available for any other questions.
Okay. Can I speak for a minute? Yes, come on up.
I have a fractured femur.
No, she can't. I can hear her.
I have a big mouth, so hopefully you can hear me.
Comes in handy.
My name is Grace Lang. I live at 4 Shepherd Road. I drive that street every day. I've lived here. Oh, thank you.
Oh, there you go.
I've lived and driven in Braintree for over 20 years. I drive by Dalton during that time, and 2 trucks cannot make up for 90 parking spaces. I'm sorry, I don't want to fight with you, but that's the reality of it. And because the traffic, good, bad, or indifferent, is where it is, I live on 4 Shepherd Road, which is right next to Washington Street, and then there's Jefferson. I cannot, excuse my language, friggin' get off the street some days between 37 and trying to get off of Jefferson. I got hit 2 years ago because somebody was nice and stopped to let me go while somebody else decided to step on their gas and go like hell. It's a dangerous thing. We do not need to add a lot more. Jefferson is very, very close to Dalton, or the water company, as you now want to call it, whatever. Dalton, the water company, is not a part of the problem we have with traffic. Whether it's at 7, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon with school buses, which, by the way, if we bring a lot more kids, that's another school bus, guys. and we have tons of them there. So I'm sorry if I've taken my more than 2 minutes, but I've sat here like a good girl all night, and I am not going to listen to whoever Jeff is, who does not live, who does not deal, and has to put up with the traffic and everything else in our areas, that we try to be good neighbors with each other, and to hear that 2 trucks, I think they may have 6 trucks on site that I've seen at any time. I see more activity out of Mentos than I do Dalton.
Thank
But
you.
that's it.
But thank you very much. Would you like to explain what's up on the screen? It's
This is a memo dated
From-
February 17th
from,
Van Ness and
Van Ness and
Associates. This
Associates?
is, yes, this is,
yep.
so, this is, so going into the nitty-gritty, that I can, during the weekday morning peak hour, the project is expected to generate approximately 20 additional vehicle trips on average. Weekday under average month conditions generate an additional 16 vehicle trips under peak season conditions. During the weekday evening peak hour, the project is expected to generate approximately 21 additional vehicle trips on an average weekly under average month conditions, and 17 additional vehicle trips via under peak season conditions. Based on this comparative assessment, the project represents an increase in weekday peak hour traffic of approximately 1 additional vehicle every 3 minutes, a level of impact that would not be perceivable outside of the immediate proximity of the project site and would not result in a material increase in motorist delays or vehicle queuing over existing conditions. Further, the removal of truck trips that are associated with the current use of the property will serve to reduce the larger impact of truck traffic on motorist delays and vehicle queuing due to the size and slower performance characteristics of such vehicles when compared to a passenger car. Summary: Van Ness & Associates has completed a chip generation assessment in support of the proposed construction of a multifamily residential development located at 1139, 1151 Washington Street in Braintree. Based on this assessment, we have concluded that the project represents an increase in weekday peak hour traffic of approximately 1 additional vehicle every 3 minutes, a level of impact that would not be perceivable outside the immediate proximity of the project site and would not result in a material increase in motorist delays or vehicle queuing over existing conditions. Further, the removal of truck trips that are associated with the current use of the property will serve to reduce the larger impact of traffic on motorist delays and vehicle queuing due to the size and slower performance.
Okay. Thank you. All right, please, no shouting, Grace. No speaking out. Sorry. Please. Thank you. Was there anything else you wanted to comment on, Mr. Young? So, you coming to speak?
My name is Joseph Weeks, 1265 Washington Street. I wasn't going to speak tonight. I kind of figured that everybody had already done that. The gentleman here is talking about the traffic situation, and you people as a board member for the zoning board seem to be listening to it. The reason why I decided to come up was because many meetings prior, you didn't allow us to talk about traffic. Traffic wasn't a zoning thing. Now you're allowing this guy to speak about how the traffic in the neighborhood's not going to be so detrimental to the neighborhood. So if he's allowed to talk about traffic, then so should we. But you also have to take into consideration that across the street there's going to be another 750 units being built. They are also going to be an impact to that neighborhood. Now, whether or not the traffic from them, from his property, is going to be so overwhelming, but when you add that building to it, there will only be one way in on that building, or 2 ways in actually. So half of that traffic will go left, half of it will go right, directly into our intersection adding to the building, the traffic that he's imposing to add. Plus, he also hasn't spoken to the fact that you are involving additional bedrooms, which will require more students, I'm sure. That area will also become a school bus stop. So the tractor trailers coming out from Dalton Water will probably equal the number of just the school bus stops that will have to be made in the center of that intersection, stopping everybody from coming and going. So again, if you're going to, I'm sorry? That's fine. If you're going to allow him to use traffic, you also have to take into consideration all traffic and the building that's going to be built across the street that's going to add a ridiculous amount of traffic to that neighborhood.
Thank you. Actually, you kind of beat me to it. I was going to say that traffic is not really one of the things that we have direct jurisdiction on, but that was what you chose. But, you know, it has come up. Safety is an issue. And, you know, honestly, I'll interrupt for a minute. I mean, there's no question that traffic over there is out of control most of the time. But I would, you know, I do understand the same thing, is that this kind of residential use does generate less traffic than most commercial uses, but that's not really, I think, what I'm focused on this. But go ahead, sorry. Once again, very patient.
I can't believe I'm up here a third time tonight.
No shouting, please. Thank you.
We're not at home, all
Come
right?
stand with him then.
So I know traffic isn't a zoning thing, a variance thing, but just, since we're talking about it, I'd like to know how this all works with these traffic studies, because I can't for the life of me imagine how people think that's how it's going to work out. Like, could Pat Mulcairn and Associates provide a letter saying the opposite and everyone's going to believe it in the room? I really don't know, but
I can't speak to that, but I will say
I don't
that-
think anybody can. That's the
No,
problem
but-
we should
but
be talking about.
I will
is-
just say this, that this company is very well respected, just so you know. They're not, they're,
Who paid them for the report? The developer, I'm assuming, right? So they,
yeah, but the standards are the standards.
okay, I'll take that.
But
With that being said, they did their traffic study maybe like summertime when school wasn't going on, maybe a winter time when there was no golf, I don't know, but the traffic study just does not make sense. Thank you.
I would like to recognize Peter Machek to speak.
Excuse me. I was just going to say, traffic studies are done for most developments that come through the planning board process. So site plan review, if this project, any project that goes through site plan review, typically traffic reports are granted, and then obviously they're peer reviewed by somebody working for the town who's paid for the applicant. This letter was submitted, and I will say again, Jeff Dirk, who did this letter from Vanas Associates, is one of the most well-respected people in the traffic industry. However, you know, it hasn't been peer reviewed, but I will say Jeff is a very, you know, well-respected, highly respected traffic engineer that's appeared in front of this board and many boards, you know, throughout Eastern Massachusetts.
Thank you. Sir.
Just real quick on the traffic. I know he read this off, and it says there'll be no perceived impact outside the impact area. I don't know what that means. It doesn't define what the impact area is. There might not be a perception at the Randolph line, but there will be a perception coming out of Jefferson Street, Washington Street, and Shepherd Road. It doesn't address, there are going to have to be school buses. They're either going to have to put a new school bus stop on Jefferson Street or Washington Street, which is going to greatly impact traffic during the day. And while the construction is going on, I can't even imagine how that's going to impact traffic with construction trucks on Washington Street in front of that building. I know some of it can be done on site, but it all doesn't get done on site. It impacts traffic every time a truck comes in and out for construction. So this is a long-term impact on traffic. Even though it's not the zoning board's problem, it's something that this is what concerns us as residents.
Right. Thank you. Although no matter what construction goes there, that would be a concern. Oh.
Hey, my name is Dominic Sung. I'm at 22 Jefferson. I wasn't going to come up either. But it's kind of impressive that we've been going over an hour for the public hearing, considering we got a strict 2 minutes each. I mean, got to give us some credit, right? One thing I want to say here, though, I think the theme that people are talking about with traffic is that we're not anti-development, but the size of development is the thing that's a concern, right? It's one thing if we're getting one car every 3 minutes, right, which is the equivalent of what, like 2 of our streets worth of cars, I guess, going, right? Versus maybe a quarter of one of our streets or something, right? So if the size of development was lower, that's where your traffic flow could be better, right? So we're not saying next to whole development, we want commercial or something instead. I think it's the size that's really the concern. So I want to address also while I'm up here, a couple of things the board was saying last time from concerns was unit density, which I think a lot of people have talked about. Unit density is lower, but the bedroom density is still the same, right? That's a concern. That brings in new issues like schools and additional different kind of dynamics that they were looking for, right? Especially in a rental unit kind of building. The other thing that was talked about was variances, right? The hardships. We can't just rely only on the financial hardship for variances, right? So at the end of the day, I want to make sure that when you guys make the decision, if you guys do go for it, it's setting a precedent, right? That's a clear precedent for any developers coming in that they can, basically apply for 3 variances, and if they have, financial hardships, then they can keep going and potentially get that overridden and keep developing here. I think that's one of our concerns, right? We don't want to stop our development. We just want to make sure it's right for our town. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hong. I'm the Director of Butter for A. Jefferson. I just want to point out the real-life impact that I usually get if I go from Dunkin' Donuts trying to take a left into Jefferson Street, into my place. Sometimes it takes, on non-peak hours, about 2 minutes to take a left. And I just cannot imagine this study that you have, adding 90 parking spaces, that's not going to go from 2 minutes to probably 5 to 10 minutes before I could take that left into my own property.
Thank you.
Two minutes wasn't enough for me, so I'm going second time. My next question is, I know we fight hard with the zone project, but the zone developer lesson took out the balcony facing our resident. Mr. Yang took out the balcony but put a rooftop party place to it. I don't know if that's listening to residents or not. And when the Armstrong project presented to the planning board, we asked for more New England feel. They took the feedback and they make that change. And I don't think we see any changes from Mr. Young's design from this request as well. And the third one is when I'm looking at my dear friend Lisa's house, there's a white fence away between her backyard and a parking lot parallel to it. What if the car got hit back up and just directly hit the white fence? Can we ask for the wall if you approving the project with smaller scale? Because I'm really concerned about the safety of the fire over the white fence versus a wall that they build for granted wall for their front door, but not the neighbor. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Oh.
Hi, Rob Kadari at 306 Washington Street again. Just with everybody talking about traffic, I would just like to share some from personal experience over like the last week. So after work, you normally drive down that part of Washington Street. I live on the other end of Washington Street. I come down along the lake going to Bayshore Gym. Now, it's always backed up there. It takes about 10 minutes to get from the corner of Franklin and Washington down to the light at Plain Street. About 7 to 8 cars can get through that red light. From the golf course, when I've golfed in the summer there, if it's during the rush hour, you can't get out off of Jefferson or Washington, and you have to kind of take a very risky turn. A better scenario to compare this project to would be like, if anybody's gone to the Dunkin' Donuts there, the one right across from the tree there. Pulling out of that parking lot at rush hour is borderline impossible. I mean, with the light, you have to get lucky if you can even get out of there. I mean, that would be the better thing to compare this to. Imagine people trying to pull out of that parking lot and onto the main street. The Dunkin' Donuts is the example. This project is just, it's incompatible with the area. It's the wrong project for the wrong lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm inclined to close the public hearing. Do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
A motion to close the public hearing?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So. Would you like to say anything, Member Perez?
There are certain things that I do like about the changes that you made, but there are other things that are concerning to me that make me hesitant to go forward with a positive decision on this.
Member Kavanaugh?
I just do want to make a point that a lot of these issues that have come up are actually under the purview of the planning board, correct? In terms of fire access, traffic, a few of the other things. I mean, you don't have.
That's correct. My name is Peter Matchik, Director of Planning and Community Development. You are correct. Some of these items that are coming up, such as traffic, kind of fall into the realm of site plan approval. The fire, that whole, just one of the comments regarding the parking. Obviously, the underground parking is typically sprinkled. The fire department does have processes and procedures to deal with EV charging. It's an issue that not just Braintree is dealing with. Every community in America is dealing with how do you put out EV cars that catch on fire in parking garages. I can tell you Braintree has actually blankets that get pulled over the cars that put out the fires because there's because we are still learning as a country, as people, on how to deal with EV charging cars per se in that kind of emergency. Those items, but going back to the traffic, which is I think is a really big point, gets covered under the site plan approval process through the planning board. If so, and if that happens, a lot of the environmental in the rear, this site is within the 100 feet of the of the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction. The conservation weighs into anything within that area, within that floodplain, and so this project does have to go to the planning board, and then again has to go to the Conservation Commission to have their respectful jurisdictions honored. For not just this project, but all projects, as they kind of make their way through permitting.
Kavanaugh, other things?
Yeah, I do think it's good that you have reduced the number of units. It does also reduce the size of the building considerably, I would assume. And I do appreciate the removal of those balconies and bringing back, I think it helps. I do think there are some real benefits to this project. One of them is the affordable housing, which is much needed. And this affordable housing is for young professionals, families, people that want to downsize. And, for years, we have turned away. We've let development happen without that affordable housing piece. So I am glad that was in there. I guess that's it for now.
Okay. So I had some of the same thoughts, I think, as Member Kavanaugh. I do think that there is some uniqueness on the site with the slope, and I felt that addressed the levels of the number of stories of the building as long as the height was reduced. And I do think that there was a good response to the neighbors in terms of pulling back the setback and adding, you know, significant landscaping and taking out the balconies. And, you know, I thought that was a good faith response. And I also have this thing with the open space requirement, because on the one hand, it says you only need 10% open space, but on the other hand, you have this other calculation, which is quite different. And, you know, this project does provide about 40% open space, which is pretty good. So, you know, I had some comfort there, but I still have a problem with the density. And the problem I have is that I know that, and I struggled with this, I'll be honest with you folks, because there are other projects in town that are similar, they were approved by the previous ZBA, but they're still part of the character. So this is consistent with that character. But it does set a precedent, I think maybe one or two of you even mentioned it, with this density and what would go from us, that we would be setting this. And I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with approving something with a density that's that much different than what's allowed, especially given that, you know, we do have other parcels coming up, you know, and someone said, oh, you did it over here, you did it over there, why aren't you doing it here? And I'm uncomfortable with that on this site. So that's my main reason for not supporting it. But I really do appreciate the fact that you added the affordable units in, that you modified the design in terms of the setbacks and the, you know, and some of that. I really hate to lose the benefit along the river. I think that's something that you don't know if another project will do that or do as much. But I don't want to set a precedent of a variance for this kind of density. I'm uncomfortable with that on this site. So, please, no clapping. I think we take a vote. We can do that. I don't think they would like to say something, but we don't. Can we allow them to say? We close the public hearing. So
Public hearing is closed. Any motion does have to be made in the positive. Just please remember that.
Oh, so the motion that we would entertain is to approve the 3 variances. That's the motion. And then we vote for it, or against it.
Correct.
So I will entertain a motion to approve the 3 variances.
If I may,
It's up to the chair.
Madam Chair, would you entertain a request to withdraw this?
Shh. Hey. Not without prejudice, no. I think we want to vote. I think we want to put this to bed here. So you can withdraw it, but not without prejudice. Right? I think that's,
You can.
Mr. Maycheck, I don't know if your
So you
mic's
can
on.
vote it with, it would be voted with a withdrawal with prejudice.
With prejudice. You can
Correct.
withdraw it with prejudice. Or we can vote. Can't come back. You can't come back. All right, we're going to proceed with the vote.
Okay.
All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the 3 variances for, yeah, may as well vote all 3 at once.
A motion to deny?
No, we have to vote, the motion has to be to approve.
So-
We were just
so
reminded
A motion
that.
to approve the 3 variances?
For 1139 and 1151 Washington Street. All right, all in favor? All opposed? Aye. I
Aye.
think it's been denied. Thank you. Jesus. Oh, do we have, I don't think we have minutes. Do we have minutes? We do have minutes? Okay. I need my agenda. Here we go. Oh. All right. Oh, the dates. Okay. Okay, so we are, we are announcing that we are changing the schedule going forward for the Zoning Board of Appeal. We're changing the calendar. There will be no meeting on November 24th, 2025, and December 29, 2025. Wait, is that the replacement date?
December 8th.
We're replacing it with December 8th. Okay, let me get this clear. There will be no meeting November 24th, December 29th. Take it outside, folks. I mean, it'll be posted too. So the Zoning Board of Appeals will not have meetings on November 24th or December 29th of 2025. They will be replaced with a meeting of December 8th. All right. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? Oh, wait, do we have to vote on that? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I hear a motion to vote, do I hear a motion to accept the change in the calendar?
I motion to accept the change.
Aye.
Second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Since we picked the date. All right, approval of the minutes for September.
Calendar.
The middle.
Oh, I don't even think all right. Do I hear a motion to approve the 2026 Zoning Board of Appeal meeting schedule?
I make a motion to approve the 2026 Zoning Board of Appeals calendar.
Second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right. Now. Are we ready for the meeting minutes? Are there any comments on the meeting minutes for September 29th of 2025? If not, do I hear a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes, September 29th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now, should we vote to adjourn?
I just want to make a quick note.
Oh, Mr. Machek would like to make a note.
Okay, so with this, obviously, the decision to deny was made. We have 14 days to issue the decision and get that on file with town clerk. So if this board would like to meet and review that decision, I think working with the town staff, Jonathan and I can work and to get that decision move forward. However, if you as a committee and as a body want to review that decision and sign it, we should make a meeting date within the next 14 days so we can, quote unquote, stay within the rules of the road to make that happen. And so it will be a short meeting. This would be the only item on the agenda. It would be a posted public hearing, and it would not be an open meeting. I mean, it would be a meeting item. It should be a review and approve the drafted decision for this project. And then that night, we would ask everyone to sign it so that we could stamp it in with the town clerk. And that is just to stay within being respectful of Mass General Law.
Okay, so do we want to, if we want to do that, we want to pick a date now?
I think we should pick a date now within these 14 days.
So
does it have to be on the Monday, or it could be any day?
Any day. But, next week, but it's 14 days, including the weekends. So really from tonight.
And next week, we have SNEPA in Newport on the 6th and 7th.
So next Thursday and Friday. Next Thursday and Friday, I'll be actually in the office on Thursday. I'll be out on Friday. Obviously, the 10th is a due date. Thank you. The 11th, I believe Town Hall is open that day. Correct.
Okay, what date?
However, the 11th is Veterans Day.
The 11th?
The 11th is Veterans Day, Town Hall
Yeah,
is
I was going to
closed.
say it's
And
Veterans
the
Day.
4th is Election Day, which may be worth noting.
Correct.
You want it to be a Tuesday, though, is that what you're saying?
What time would it be?
Well, wait, we haven't picked a date.
If it's in the afternoon, I can make it, whatever. Any day I can make it happen.
By the end of this week, and I can have it ready, or, whenever.
Can I just jump in? I would look to the 4th or the 5th of November.
Okay, the 4th or the 5th of November. 4th is Election Day. I don't know if that's okay with me. I don't know if will Town Hall be,
Town Hall will be open late that night. Typically, the board or committee would not meet on election night. However,
we can do it during the day.
we can also do it during,
I
we
could
can
make-
also do it, excuse me, we can also do it during the day via Zoom if we wanted to.
Oh,
And
That works. The 5th? The 5th?
wait, is the 5th?
5th is Wednesday.
Yeah,
the 5th is a Wednesday. I'll be here. I know Jonathan will be here. And
let's do the 5th.
But
And do you
also-
want to do Zoom, or you want to do in
to
person?
sign
or-
it.
I think we should come in person.
I think we should come in person. All right, so do you guys have a time? Do you want to be here for this?
Yeah, don't schedule around me. I think I can make it, depending on what time we do.
Do you have a time that's bad? I mean, I'd like you to join us if you would like to.
Yeah, no, happy to be there. Wednesday anytime should be good after 5 p.m.
After what?
After 5 p.m. If we're coming here in person, anything after 5
Okay.
should be okay.
What, is that okay with you guys then in the evening?
6 o'clock?
Is that okay with you?
6 o'clock, yeah, that's fine.
6 o'clock? 6 o'clock, November 5th, here at Town Hall. All right. We're all set. Can we adjourn for the evening?
Meeting minutes?
It's 9:40. I'll entertain a motion to do
Did we
it.
approve?
Did we already
approve it?
adjourn?
Did we approve the meeting minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
you missed it.
I missed it.
Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you. So motion to close?
Yep. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We adjourned at 9:40. Thank you, everybody.